But in the world outside of working with your parents, as a woman contractor builder, what are the challenges that you face as a woman in a man's world?
That is a very good question because I work so closely with a man, being my dad. So I get to see firsthand how I think language is a big difference between men in construction and women in construction.
Sure thing.
That's been the biggest thing from my perspective, dealing with subs, just how I talk to a sub versus the things my dad can say to a sub, or how men talk to each other. But the good thing is that I've never felt like I'm not welcome. I've never felt like disrespected for what I'm trying to do. And if I do, then I'm not working with the right people.
Welcome to MJTV. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is MJTV, not HGTV. The difference is we tell it like it really is and what it really takes to build new construction. This is your place for all topics about new construction. And what are we talking about today? Well, everybody's talking about the market. It's hot. How hot can it stay? Is it sustainable? So stay tuned. Lots of information for you. But before we go there, I'm inviting you to sign up right below so I can keep you in touch, let you know what's coming up. And we do have some exciting interviews coming in quickly. So let's get going. First of all, I have another thing that's really fun and exciting. We're going to do my virtual bus tour. Hop on. And we're going to see Minneapolis's first container home. So these are some of the backdrop photos. We are interviewing the builder next week, so we should have that ready. This is a container house. So it is made out of 4 shipping containers. This is a city project where people have to qualify 80% of median income. But here's what's so exciting about it. It's not just that it's containers. And you'll see that it's really spacious. It does have 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, and it is net zero ready. It is all electric. So this home is a home of the future. It is built with containers, but it's highly insulated. It's sealed tight. It has all electric. It has induction stove. It has heat pumps. So it's very exciting. It's a very efficient and very durable home. There will be more coming up. I believe this is part of a city plan that they hope to build more of these. So I will say the house is practically indestructible. And importantly, it is a high performance home. This house saves you energy and it saves you money. So 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, a big living room, dining room area, lovely kitchen. It is the home of the future. I will say that both of the upper level bedrooms have balconies, and you can see this is the front. So the bedroom opens to the front. Really, you get a nice overview. And on the side is east sun. So you should have south sun, and it should have light all the time. It was very, very carefully planned. And I'm excited to interview the builder next week. So let's dig in about, can the market sustain the heat? We all know, everybody's talking about it. What's going to happen next? So here's my thoughts on it. New Year's morning, I got a call at 8:30 a.m. Well, the sun is just beginning to peek out from a buyer who wanted to go look for houses that day. I said, well, things are closed today. How about tomorrow morning? So the next morning we went out, I showed her 2 homes. She bought one of them. It was a very cold start in January to a hot real estate market. I've been in real estate long enough to see some trends. And as a real estate coach told me one time, the market goes up and down. Stocks and bonds can go up and down or disappear. But real estate is always there. And that's why we call it real. So it will be around forever. In the early 2000s, prices were rising, but it didn't deter buyers from swooping up homes at interest rates with over 6%. And then they refinanced all the equity they had or they could get out of it so they could buy other things. By 2000, the market was turning. Many homes were adrift in the recession that was caused by fraud, bad loans, and loan sharks. Also, people were treating their homes like an ATM. They would refinance every time they wanted to buy a car or a boat or some other big item. They would take it out of the house with left them with very little equity. The now defunct Countrywide Mortgage was doing loans at 125% loan to value, meaning they were lending you 25% more than it was worth, so the buyers could never sell. A past client called me during that time and he said, "Gee, I think I did something wrong." And he did. He was lured into refinancing his house, taking out $40,000 in cash of equity, which left him with like no equity whatsoever. He signed the docs on the hood of a car at a McDonald's. I called the lender who would not call me back until the 3-day right of rescission was over and there was nothing. He was stuck with zero equity and a high interest rate loan to get $40,000 in cash out. Did he need it? Maybe yes, maybe no, but it left him in a very vulnerable position. Since then, the laws have changed. Lenders are highly, highly regulated. And we always recommend that you leave, if you possibly can, at least 20% equity in your home. Counter to common sense, at the bottom of the recession, buyers were terrified that the market would just bottom out. Well, it already had. And then investors were scooping up, or they were grabbing as fast as they can all these cheap properties, literally $40,000, $80,000. I sold a lot of $80,000 duplexes that are now $350,000 and $400,000. Media was pummeling buyers at the time with bad information. I watched one financial guru tell them that they had to have 20% down, a 700 credit score, and offer maybe $100,000 below what the list price was. Well, at that time, the list price was about 30% of the original price. I saw the market spike in the early 2000s, drop during the recession, and then come back again. Some still believe what they were told about the 20% and the 700 credit score. They believe that's true, but it's not. Children growing up in the shadow of the recession value owning a home, even if it's more expensive right now. In the past 5 years, they've lined up eagerly awaiting the first open to a brand new listing, and they're amazed to find a herd of other buyers pre-approved, cash in hand, ready to make offers. Competition is fierce, not only between the buyers, but now we have iBuyers like Zillow, Opendoor, Redfin, and hedge funds like Blackstone with cash that are outbidding them. It's not only the cash, it's the waiver of appraisal, sometimes no inspection that makes sellers absolutely giddy. Today's sellers automatically think that they should have a parade of buyers that are vying against each other in multiple offers, even on mediocre properties. Buyers without reserves find themselves in a double bind. Interest rates are really, really low. This is rock bottom low at 3%. So the banks aren't making a lot of money on the loans where they used to make 5, 6, even 7% in not too distant past. So they have tightened qualification restrictions and they're not taking any risky loans. They're just flat out denying those loans. So what is happening then? So a buyer, an FHA buyer with a 3.5% down, and maybe they're getting some assistance for that down payment, and they're asking the seller to participate in closing costs. It's a thing in the past. It's just not happening. Sellers want to see a robust down payment. They're not paying closing costs. And if there's a discrepancy with the appraisal, they're expecting buyers to pick up that difference. There's some negotiating there, but the sellers have very high expectations based on what happened in the spring. This is a have and have not market. There are some very disappointed buyers, and some have even withdrawn from the market. So the question is, can this last forever? Hungry investors are talking shadow inventory, and they're hoping that there's a massive amount of foreclosures based on the number of people in forbearance as of June. As of last Friday, the total numbers of homes that are still in forbearance is 1,863,000. And although that sounds like a lot, that's 3.5% of the market. And what's different between now and the recession, when there were 9,300,000 foreclosures, is that 87%, which means most of them, have a minimum of 10% equity in the home. That gives them flexibility that they can sell without going into a foreclosure or a short sale and walk away with cash. Since January 2021, prices have jumped almost 15% across the country. It's not just here. Homeowners who purchased more than 2-3 years ago have a lot of equity because of the prices have escalated so fast. And that means, yes, they can sell. They don't have to be distressed, and they'll walk away with cash. And again, they're eligible to buy again in 2 to 3 years. The total number of foreclosed homes in 2020 was 214,000. That's down from 2019. Here's a chart that shows how we compare now to then. During the recession, hedge funds bought low and sold off within 3 to 5 years for very chunky profits. This time around, they're buying high, outbidding the competition with cash. Do you think that they would buy if they didn't plan to make money? Zillow plans to make money on 3 counts: 1 on the purchase, 2 on mortgage, and 3, they want to sell you title services. That's triple dipping. All the hedge funds are intending to make money in the long term, and that shows. They have huge confidence in the future of the real estate market. There's no indication that demand is going to decrease. And of course, pricing is driven by demand. Many millennials are stymied by student debt, but they'd like to refinance or do something. There are a few programs that allow student debt to be refinanced between 2.5% to 6%. That would loosen things up a little bit for the millennials. There's also talk about forgiveness, but we can't really count on that happening. If there is immigration reform, and we've been promised immigration reform since Bush, that would open the door to millions of families that are not documented. It becomes, for those families, it's a major accomplishment. A study by the Urban Institute forecasts that Latinos will make up 70% of the growth in the housing market between now and 2040. I sold a number of homes to young Latinas and some single moms. One bought for her family because her parents didn't qualify. The others they bought for themselves, and some don't even tell their family because it's a culture where they stay home until they're married. And one young woman, I said, "Are your parents excited?" She says, "They don't know, and they won't know until I move out." It is a dynamic changer, it's a financial change, and it is also a huge cultural change. Gen Z is turning 21, and 56% of all 86 million of them say they want to have their own home. The National Association of Realtors says we need another 7 million homes to meet the demand right now. Where are those homes going to come from? Well, you'll like this. Zillow did a report where they say that the boomers are all going to die and they're going to leave us with a tsunami of old homes. Think about it. They're not all going to die on the same day. And the United States has 97,000 centenarians. We're all living so much longer. So let's not count on the boomers causing a tsunami of cheap homes being flooding on the market anytime soon. 2021 is a banner year for builders. They're trying to keep going. But there is a huge struggle. They have challenges on several sides. First of all, the mills in Canada were closed down for COVID, which caused a or wood shortage, and prices spiked 300%. Okay, it's coming down now, but it hasn't reached the builders yet. So they've had to tack on as much as $25,000 to a house because of the charges of wood. Trade workers have aged, but they've not replaced themselves. So there's a real shortage of skilled labor in the trades. They're recruiting, but it's still a challenge to get to people. Americans have trained all their kids, all of them. Everybody should have a white collar job. Everybody should go to college. So they are overlooking the advantages of blue collar, which pay really good salaries. And if anyone's paid a plumber recently, I paid about $421 for 20 minutes worth of work. There's some good money to be made in the trades. So there's skilled trades are in a real shortage. So refrigerators and appliances are also in short supply, waiting parts from China. As we all know, the factories in China were closed down because of the pandemic. There was a bicycle shortage last year because the bicycle factories were all closed. So there are shortages on appliances. So, and the builders are backed up. They're trying to keep up as quickly as they can. I called 3 builders last month asking for a client. What do you have in a single level living with or without basement under $400,000? All 3 of them told me we are sold out until the end of the year. So they're trying, but the inventory is going very quickly, especially at a lower price point. Once you get above 700,000, the market slows down a little bit, and there are move-in ready options. Jobs always determine the market. And historically, pandemics have changed the rules for the workforce. Working from home is now normal. Many employers are anxious to get their employees back into the office, but as much as 40% are saying, hold on, I might be looking for another job. Working from home brings a new dynamic, and some people love it, some people don't. One client told me, she goes, I can't believe how much time I wasted commuting. Minna's unemployment rate is at 4%, and signs of a now hiring, looking for workers, help wanted are all over the windows of restaurants, shops, and job sites. Everybody's looking for workers, and employers are shocked that they aren't being flooded with application. There's no going back on how it used to be, but we don't know yet what the new normal is going to be. But what we can see, there is a desire to keep at least some days working from home. So employers are going to have to adjust, and that also affects the commercial real estate market. The commercial market is booming with the exception of offices. So we're not sure what that is going to shake out to be. Also, rents took an unprecedented 12% hike in pricing this spring. It's usually 3-4%, 12%. The choice for people now is paying a high rent that can continue to escalate or buying a home. Some people are saying, well, I'm just going to wait it out and rent another year and wait until the prices are coming down. Well, that's not true. Prices will go up next year. They will be paying more. I had people say that to me 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago, and we have continued an upward climb in pricing. So prices are high, but the mortgage interest rate is very low. And people have the assurance that they'll have a fixed mortgage payment for the next 30 years. And they might even have as much as 2 offices or an office and a flex room in their new home. There's no end in sight for demand. Jobs are waiting for employees. And we have a real way to go to catch up to the shortages caused by the pandemic. It doesn't look like the real estate market is cooling off anytime soon. And we're not going to wait for all the boomers to die to have that flood of homes come on the market. So your options are rent or buy. And something else that's coming up that we'll talk about in future videos is tiny houses. How do they play into the market? So tune in next week. We're going to talk about the container home. Thank you so much for listening, and I'd love for you to sign up. And you can look for me on YouTube, Raise Your Roof on YouTube, and well, you can see previous editions. Thanks much. Talk to you next week.